Hello, crystal friends and family. Hello, hello. Welcome to the show. I'm outside today. It's cloudy, possibly rainy. I don't know. We'll see if it happens today. And I'll give you a few moments to come in. Of course, always got to start with the cleansing and clearing, and bringing in fresh, positive energy to our space as always. So thank you for joining me today. We are continuing our talk on past lives. I've been doing past live chats. Oh, we did a few last year and then brought it back up again this year. And something that I just kind of came upon as far as another extended topic on it. Last week during my show, so I thought I would just talk about that today. So we're talking about past lives and what to expect when you access them. I'll go over some crystals again of what can help you and some other methods that can help you access past lives. And it'll be an open chat, so please join us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for coming in, everyone. We've got Angela, hello. Kathy, Lori, Rachel, Michelle, Cindy, thank you for joining me today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everyone doing today? We are continuing our chat today on past lives. It must be something that's needed out there right now because I'm prompted to keep talking about it right now. So I talk about what I'm told to talk about. So this is what it is. Hi, Janice. Welcome. You might be able to weigh in on this, I think, today. So we've been talking about past lives. Last week we were talking about it, some deja vu and some experiences that we might experience that lead us to believe that we might have glimpses of past lives. And I brought out some crystals last week. I'm going to show you some crystals today that can really help you get into deep meditation to access that. And there's some other methods as well that I would suggest to try to access past lives. So this is an open discussion. I love it when we can chat together about these things. We all learn from each other and we all learn together. So thank you for sharing. Hi, Therese. Welcome. Thank you for sharing, Cindy. I appreciate it. I do appreciate your support for sharing. So how many, I guess I'll start the first question I want to ask is, how many of you believe that you have had past lives, or do you believe in past lives? And, you know, there's no right or wrong answer. Your beliefs are your beliefs. I'm just curious to see what you all feel. So what do you feel about past lives? Do you feel you've had some? Do you feel that, yes, it could be true? Do you feel it's all just a bunch of hokey pokey? What do you feel? What do you feel? What do you feel about past lives? Hi, Harpreet. Aisha, thank you for sharing, Therese. Appreciate it. Pamela, welcome. I love my sage too. I can't start a show without the sage when I'm outside. Love it, love it. Thank you, Harpreet. I appreciate that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hi, Karen. Welcome. Yes, Aisha, past lives. Yes, yes, Brittany, definitely do feel you've had one. Therese, do, yes. I've accessed many. I don't even know how many. I've got so many journals filled with past life information with my own. And I'm going to share some of those with you today too. So you can kind of have an idea of what to expect. So, yes, yes, yes. Got some yeses. All right. Hello, welcome, welcome everybody, welcome. So when you, I guess I'm going to start off with when you start to access past lives, what you can expect. And then I'm going to tell you some ways to access past lives and the crystals to help you with it too. So when you access past lives, it can be quite exciting. It can be quite frightening. It can be very enlightening. It can be healing. It can be give you a deeper sense of knowledge about yourself. It can be sad, traumatic. You might visit some things about your past that are very difficult to see. you can experience some that are very, very wonderful and beautiful and amazing. And they're all different. I believe that you access the ones that you need to at that time, that point in time for your life right now. Excuse me, sorry. I believe that you will access the lives that you need to know from right now, because there are some that you might not be might not be relevant. There are some that might be too painful to revisit until you've adjusted yourself right now. So I think you're given the ones that you need to see now during your life for what will help you clear the karma, clear some past hurt or pain or illness in this lifetime, clear some misunderstandings maybe. So I think you're given the ones that you see, the ones, or you experience the ones that you need to most at this time. So some of the things that you can expect are you will have different forms in different lives. You'll be male or female in different lives, and it'll switch back and forth for whatever you need at that time in your learning experience, your soul plan. You will choose to either come down as a male or a female. You will have different roles in your past lives. So my mother might be my daughter one time. My husband might be my sister one time. I might be my husband's nephew. Who knows? A best friend. It's all different roles. It's our soul family. It's our soul group. And when we're in the soul space, we create what it is that we're going to come down here and accomplish. And so we come back as different roles, and whatever suits our learning needs the most is how we incarnate. So, Colleen, let's see here. You say you dreamt you were a very old woman and behind prison that was laying in bed and was doing healing on them in a big way. Oh, wow, yes. That probably was a past life recall, I would say. Yeah. You'll come back at different past lives. You'll see that you will have different financial statuses. Some you might be very, 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 very poor, nothing, very lack, very, very, just completely nothing. Some you might be very wealthy. Some might be middle of the road. So you'll have different financial statuses. And learning those things can also help you with your current situations. Paying attention to your past lives and what these details can help you within your own learning when you're exploring these. It can be very exciting to explore and learn all of these past lives. You'll be in different locations. You will always be in the same place at the same the same kind of place. You'll be different locations. I know of where I have been in the Americas, different areas. I have been in Europe, different locations. I've been in South America, different locations. I just all over the world. So you'll be in different locations for different, again, learning purposes. It's all part of your learning plan in your soul plan. Because if you came back the same all the time, would you really learn anything new? Would it be anything different? Would it be anything... It's like you need a new experience. You need to put yourself through new experiences to learn what you need to ultimately learn. Of course, it will be different time periods. The universe doesn't have time, but we've created time. So in our timelines, it will be different time periods. You'll have different belief systems and different viewpoints in past lives. You might be a free spirit one time throughout the whole existence. Sometime you might have very rigid beliefs in certain things. You'll have different occupations. And learning these things again, too, help you understand where you are in your life today. I have, in many of my past lives, I have been a healer. I've been medicine man. I've been a shaman. But in very different forms. Native American, South American. So they come in ways these things came to me when I started unfolding my abilities to see what I was capable of in the alternative healing capacity this time around. I needed to see that. I needed to relive that. I needed to be reassured that I was on the right path again now. So you'll have different occupations. You'll have different experiences, some good, some bad. These can bring up emotions. It can bring up pent-up emotions. Visiting past lives can bring up pent-up emotions that you've hidden deep down within your soul for so many lifetimes. And they'll bring forward the ones that you can handle and the ones that you need to learn from. But it can be a process of releasing some of that pain, going through the tears, the emotions, the sadness, the anger, the how could I have done such things, the processing of that. But then you heal that, and then you heal the karma that can be a carryover karma that was attached to some of those things that might have affected your life this time around. I hope this makes sense. It's a heavy topic. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of layers to it. But it can be a very enlightening experience as well. You can be like, wow, that makes sense of why I'm doing things like I'm doing right now. That makes sense of why things happen over and over and over right now. And once you learn these things, you can kind of break the cycle. You can start to break that pattern. And it really is a remarkable experience to explore some past lives. You can see some vows. Maybe you had vows of attached to money, of poverty. You can go back and you can heal that. You can come to peace with it, come to terms with it, and release it. So from here on out, you won't have that belief system. When you go visit past lives, it's kind of like lucid meditation too. If you know of one, you can go back and return to that past life and heal what has caused any issues or pain or distress and karma, and you can go back and heal that. Visiting past lives can be a process like everything else. It is, you probably in one session won't see a whole lifetime because it's a lifetime. You might need several sessions to put together several pieces of the puzzle of one lifetime. Maybe you just, in one session, you see a glimpse of a lifetime and that's all you need. But there are sometimes when you might need more in-depth information and you visit a certain lifetime more and more and more and more. So it's almost like seeing yourself in a dream, in a movie, and visiting these things. I suggest when you explore past lives, carry a journal with you, notepad, jot down everything and anything that comes to you, because it's something like a dream. It might fade quickly if you don't write notes down as soon as you come out of the session. Let's see a couple comments here and questions, and then we'll get back into this. Past life regression can help clear emotions. Yes, Janice, I believe that truly and wholeheartedly. Aisha, you think we have had past life experiences together? I have no doubt many of us here, many of us in this group have had past lives together. And I think we've come together now to strengthen the awareness mindset. I think that this is the time that more and more awareness is happening, and I think that we've all come together to do that. So, yeah. Angela, you've had a past life reading recently. They show you 4 lives. You were in Egypt, yet living in strife. One was Roman warrior, religious nut. One was Native American healer. So you're going to have different roles, different occupations, different scenarios, different situations, and when you're in the soul space, you work all this stuff out with your soul group. You're going to say, okay, you're in the soul space, that's in between lives. you're with your soul group and you're going to say, okay, this is what my objective is. This is what I want to focus on learning this time around. Who can help me with this? Who can help me with that? And while I'm doing this, I can help you with this. I can help you with that. It's a constant cycle of helping each other, but in the same time, focusing on what we need to focus on and help ourselves evolve. So, how do you access past lives? There are a few things that come to me. One is go to a psychic, card reading, be one that is trusted, that is trustworthy, that is reputable. Use your intuition with that. And again, you might get glimpses. You might not get all the answers in one session. You might need to go back and revisit and revisit. If you want to explore more deeply on your own, visit a hypnotherapist. Janice, you can probably weigh in a little bit of this. I went to hypnotherapy and I saw many, many, many of my own past lives. They guide you through kind of a prompting to take you on a journey, kind of like a guided meditation, to prompt memories to evolve, to come forward. So hypnotherapy is a great way to do it. Again, it can take many sessions, and it might not happen the very first time. You might need to get yourself adjusted and in tune with this idea of visiting past lives. You need to let down some of the blocks and some of the barriers that you've put up that you might have put up to block this information. You need to trust yourself and trust the person you're working with, if you're working with somebody else, that they are in this for your highest good. Again, use your intuition with selecting somebody to help you with this. You can, excuse me, you can also check out Brian Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters. If you have not read this book, it is worth reading. It is really an amazing experience of a psychotherapist and his patient and their past life regression therapies that came about in their sessions. And he also has some guided meditations where he prompts you through the whole journey and of accessing your own past lives. So if you want to do it on your own, you don't want to visit a hypnotherapist or a psychic or a reader or whatever that is, you want to do it on your own, you can. Use his guided CDs. They're really good. I recommend them. They're on Amazon. I think one is, I can't remember the exact names of them, something Mirror of Time or something Mirror or something along those lines. But Google Brian Weiss and his past life CDs and you'll be able to find what I'm talking about. Going to a hypnotherapist or going to doing it on your own through these CDs or doing it on your own with crystals, I'll talk about that in a second, can take time. My first sessions with hypnotherapy were more of my getting to know the feel for that kind of session. It took a while for me to tap into the past life. And then I started doing it every single time. And then I was already very well on my way with crystals and meditation. So then I started doing it on my own, in my own home. So choose whatever method is best for you. Doing crystals with meditation, I'll show you the crystals I recommend for this. Have yourself a good foundation with meditation where you can get into a very deep state of meditation. Of course, check out my book for that if you have not done that. And I talk about how to access past lives with crystals in here as well, and how to actually go back to past lives and go heal some of that to help heal some of the carryover karma in this as well. So revisit this book, or if you don't have it yet, get that and check that out. And Spirit of the Crystal Ray, my newest book, also talks about past lives and the soul space and these things, how they're all kind of connected to where we are now and what we need to know now. So check that out as well. So some of the crystals that you can use to tap into past life takes you into a deeper awareness, deeper meditation, deeper level of where you can access this information, and do so by having the intent of completely surrendering yourself to what's meant for you to see in your own past life. And again, give it time. It might not be the first few times, it might take a few weeks, but give it time. Once you tap into it, you will have that knowing of how to do it, and it will be easier and easier. So, Cathedral Library, this is one I talk about often, holds the Akashic Records. It's a great portal to access past, present, and future. This one actually even has a time link in it right here. Another, if you have a time link crystal, also really good to time link is the little rectangle. If you have a crystal that has a rectangle like that, that's a time link. Also is very good to use for past life recall, accessing past lives. It's a very high vibration crystal. It will help you to get into a deeper meditative state easily. I do talk about this in my book, my first book, Meditation Made Easy, the Cathedral Library. I think I'm going to put together a special show where we do this together using this crystal. I'll work on that and let you know when that's up and ready. Also, record keepers. If you have crystals that have little triangles in them, look at your crystal collection and see what they look like. If they have little tiny rectangles in them, those are record keepers. Usually they come in small little triangles, but sometimes they're bigger. I don't see any on this one. This one is actually a cathedral and an celestial together. This is a cathedral point with a celestial on it. This is an celestial where it's got all the layers and layers and layers. This is excellent to access past life, soul purpose, soul connection with others. And I would suggest using these higher vibration crystals to do this. You will have a better, I think, better results than if you use the other ones that suggest to do so. I think the higher vibration crystals are better suited to access the past lives. So celestial it doesn't have to be this big. It can be just a small piece you hold in your hand. I used a smaller piece than this with a friend to access past lives, and we did several sessions. Each week we came together and we did several sessions, focusing our intent on revisiting that past life and what else was next in that past life. Lodolite, I have not talked much about, but it is also a good high vibration crystal to use to access past lives. So those are some higher vibration crystals to think about to try and do it on your own if you wish to try and do this on your own. But when you do this also, like I said, keep your journal nearby, because when you're in a past life regression session, pay attention to your scenery, pay attention to your location, ask yourself what time period it is, ask yourself your name, ask yourself where you are, look at the people around you and see if you notice familiarities about them. See if it's somebody that you recognize on a soul level. And anything else. What do I need to know about revisiting this place? What do I need to know about revisiting this now? Ask yourself these questions while you're in this deep state of revisiting these. Gosh, I don't know, I think we all have thousands, countless lives, past lives. Countless. I think it's countless, really. I have personally been seeing a lot where I was a healer, which I needed to see at the time. I've seen a lot where I was a loner. I was alone in many of my past lives. And that tends to have come through on this time, because I was a loner for most of my life this time around, and didn't really make sense as to why. Well, some of it did. But as to the extent, when I started seeing that, I thought, okay, that's probably a carryover trait. I've seen myself in Atlantis. I've seen that life. I've seen myself in Lemuria. I've seen that life. I've seen myself in Salem. Not a pretty life. That one I revisited the whole thing through. And that life I was in the healing arts, which was considered witchcraft, of course. I wasn't burned like many of my friends, but I suffered many, many other ways. And it was a very difficult time. So I think in many lives, many of us come together to reunite, to help us. That maybe you might come and go just as a short time. Maybe you might be here for the long haul. Let's see what some of your comments are here. Let's see what we've got. And then we will, I want to share, I'm just going to pull out a couple of, in my journal, a couple that I wrote down so you can kind of see what it was like. So, Laura, I wish I could be better, be reformed from this. My life has been hard. How can this be done? Yeah, so try out some of those suggestions. Try a hypnotherapist find one that you trust or truly connect with. Talk to them before you make a session, an appointment. Feel your intuition. Is it right? Check out the CDs from Brian Weiss. There's also other past life regressions, I'm sure probably on YouTube. Listen to a few. If it feels right, it's right. If it doesn't, move on. Okay? Don't give it a second thought. Just move on till you find one that feels right. Let's see here. Welcome. A soul contract. Yes, soul contracts. Yes. Right, Angela. Is there a time we won't be back here, Lori H.? I touch on that, or I should say Spirit touches on that in this book as well. So read this if you haven't. I believe, and what I've seen and what I've been told through Spirit, is we come back. We have a soul agenda, basically, a soul plan. And we come back in many, many times to learn what we need to learn. I think the ultimate goal is divine love. If you can imagine how difficult that is to master, how hard is it to master divine love? Very difficult. Once we have mastered that, complete compassion, complete divine love for every single living being, then I believe we ascend into masters. Ascended masters, Jesus, Mother Mary, Buddha. I believe then you help others from the other side as an ongoing thing. I don't think that you would feel the need to return to learn. You might return to aid and assistance in some way, but the learning, you've already learned what you've needed to learn. Trust is the big factor. Absolutely, Janice. Yes, trust is the big factor. Do you feel comfortable with who you're working with? Or if you do it yourself, give yourself some time. Trust the process. Trust the process. Let's see here, Monroe Institute, is that what it is? Monroe Institute may have some meditations also. All right, Aisha, thanks for that. Yeah, if anybody else has any suggestions on meditations you could try yourself, please post them here. And yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa, for the feedback on my books. So thank you so much. How much are these you're asking for, Karen? They're expensive. I have some cathedral light berets I can show you. I can Later, message me if you want to see. They're expensive. And honestly, worth it for what they can do. I've developed a whole meditation around that crystal, and that's one that I might share later. I'll put together a special show for that. Yeah. Yes, and yes, Karen, your newest crystal that you just got, use that. Try it for this reason. Yeah. Will you know when you are finished with the reincarnation process? I believe so. I believe when you're in the soul space, you will know when you are at that point. Mm-hmm. You might not know it here in the physical form, but I believe that you will know on the spiritual side. Colleen, yes, same here. Shaman was killed, and also Atlantis. Wow, so cool, yes. This is a great talk. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for getting my new book. Thank you. That's a good point, Janice, and I'm glad you said that too. Janice is a hypnotherapist as well. So I'm glad that she was here today to touch on this, and there's no accidents, I tell you. When you connect with a hypnotherapist, talk to them. Feel them. Just feel their energy. But also, again, do they do past life regression? Because not all of them do. Not all of them are specialized in that. So ask that before you dish out money, if that's the reason that you want to visit with them. So I'm glad you touched on that, because not all of them are proficient in that. Not all of them are trained in that. Not all of them are into that. So some of them are just there to help you stop smoking or lose weight or whatever. So ask a hypnotherapist if that's the route that you choose to go. What are their specialties? What is their experience with past life regression? So ask these questions. So that's a good point. Thank you for that, bringing that up. Paula, you believe the same thing. Divine love is the goal. I think that is the ultimate goal, and I think that is so hard for us to achieve, and that's why it's taken us so long to get there. We're getting there. I mean, we are making steps. If you think about, I think now with this more awakening and the more awareness happening globally, we're getting there. We're making the right steps. It's a long process, yeah. But then again, we're the ones who put time on. There's no time in the spiritual side. We're the ones that put time on ourselves. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I really think so. Hi, Elissa. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Cindy R. Joe T on YouTube. All right. Hey, Raven. Welcome, 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 everybody. So I'm going to share a couple with you. And look it's just raw writing. When I come out of a meditation and I need to write down notes, I just write every single thing that I can remember from that session. I write down the date, the crystal I used, because I do it myself. Anything that comes to me afterwards, I have this. I meditate laying down on my bed, so this is by my bedside on the floor all the time. So I grab my pen and my paper as soon as I come out of a meditation that I have something that I need to remember and write down. I write it. So let's see here, Mary. Be careful with that you don't know with part of your mind that is being vulnerable to be careful. Yes, it can. Past lives can bring up some emotions and some things that you need to address. And it can be very, very hard to handle some of these things. But then again, too, I think you're only given the ones that you are meant to see at this time and you can handle. I think you're only given the ones that you're meant to handle or can handle. So this is one that I wrote down from March 20th, 2015. And it so happened to be the new moon, spring equinox, and solar eclipse at that time, which is interesting because I wrote that information down too. So I used, let's see here. This particular one I didn't put my crystal down, which is odd. I usually do. So this is one that I'll just read you what I have here. I lived on a farm. It was a very dry farm. Small little farmhouse, one-room type farmhouse, very poor. I was given to this man to marry, so it was an arranged marriage. I was very frightened and tried to be obedient to him, but he was always very, very angry and beat me often because I could not give him children. He wanted kids to help him on the farm, and that was the only reason he wanted children. I only had one of his white shirts. It was a white t-shirt to wear that was very dirty, and it was long. My hair was very long and ratted, and it was a one-room home that there was just a very, I don't know, rugged kitchen, sleeping area, wooden floors, very worn, wooden table, a bed in the corner, a single lantern on the wall. He was always, always very, very angry. He came from work one day and beat me to death in the corner. I saw blood on the floor and the wall. I was crushed, holding my arms over my head. That's the last I saw of myself then. I never tried to stop him. I never tried to leave. I asked, what was the lesson I needed to learn in that lifetime? What was that lesson I needed to learn? That was horrific, right? Horrific. I did not try to stop him. I did not try to stand up for myself. I did not leave. I was so afraid that I stayed in that horrible situation. And I died in that horrible situation. I needed to learn courage. That's what came to me. I needed to learn courage and to stand on my own and to stand on my 2 feet and to stand up for what I believe in. And that's what came to me from learning that past life. Very difficult to see. It was very difficult to process those emotions and go through that. But that's during a time when I really, really, really needed to focus on my own self-esteem, my own self-confidence, my own courage for doing things, my own beliefs in what I was doing. So I feel, in a way, it helped me see these things. You see what I'm saying? Let's see here. I know, it's crazy. Here's another one. This was on April 10th, 2015. I was a Native American young man sitting in a dry field, looking at the wonder of the stars every night. I was orphaned, but a tribe took me in. I never felt I belonged, but I never really tried either. I respected the healers in the tribe, but I knew there was more to learn. I would go out alone, on my own, every night to meditate and hope to have more insight on healing. I remained basically alone. I did learn the traditional healing arts, but it was not enough for me to be satisfied. Now that one, again, brought up a lot of that I was, always felt like I was alone a lot of times in my lifetime, this time. And I have a lot of themes where I was alone. But when I see myself as alone, that's when I go deep down inside and I learn and I learn and I learn. And I see that is what I needed to see from that. Again, this brought out the healing. I was a healer. I needed to see that. But the alone part too is that's okay. You learn who you are when you're alone. And it's okay to be alone. And you find what you're capable of. And you really can learn a lot of deep things when you are alone. So Ugh, little gnats out here, sorry. I think there was another one I wanted to share, but I'm not sure which one it is here. Okay, yeah. This one was July 17th, 2015. I went through a 2-year period of just revisiting past lives over and over and over and over again. So I have 2 years of journaling. So this one, it was in July. I was very poor young girl in London, England area. Let's see here. The streets were made of brick, and the city buildings were made of brick, and the buildings blended together. They were kind of like apartments and businesses walking down the streets. All I had was the dress I wore. It was torn, dirty. I was dirty, hair tangled again, no shoes. I had a cup and begged for money so I could get a piece of bread. That's what my goal was, to get enough money for a piece of bread. Some gave me coins. Some laughed and pointed at me. Some just walked on by and didn't even acknowledge that I existed. I just curled up, cold and hungry every day. Now that life, I needed to learn so many things. Lack, releasing lack, coming to terms with such lack, releasing and cutting the ties with the vows of poverty. Also, maybe I needed to relate to others in that situation in some way, have compassion for others in that way. I needed to see that those who are homeless, I needed to see that I needed to show them compassion and love and understanding, and on a deeper level. So you see how that can be connected to things that you experience in this time. So when you visit a past life, ask yourself, what do I need to know from this today? What do I need to learn from this? What do I need to understand? And keep your notes and go back to a certain past life if you need to and learn some more. Or if you feel like you've learned it all enough, then let it go. Heal it, let it go. Now you can take a crystal. Say, for instance, I had that past life in one session, one meditative session. The next meditative session, I could go back, revisit that with the intent of healing that, of seeing myself being taken in and helped and flourishing, of the lack of poverty is no longer things that will start to flow to me. Ask yourself to heal it. Ask yourself to heal that, and that will carry over the healing over as well. So there are many past lives that I have experienced where I just saw that one glimpse. It's just kind of a more or less overview of that whole life. I didn't see all the details of the whole life. Now there are some lives where I went back over and over and over. The Salem, I got the whole life. It took many sessions. There was a time in Egypt, I got the whole life. There was many sessions. Atlantis, I've been to a few times. I do need to go back and see that whole life, but I did get a lot of information in a few sessions. So give yourself some time. Find the best method to access this that works best for you. If you do the crystals yourself, use the crystals that you might have, the celestials. I know a lot of you have that. A lot of you have lodolites. Use the higher vibration crystals. And you might need to ground yourself after these sessions too, because you're in a very deep, deep, deep state of where you hold deep information. You might feel kind of a little dizzy or lightheaded afterwards. Ground yourself. Hold a grounding crystal afterwards for about 5 to 10 minutes. So you come back to reality. So any final thoughts or questions before we call it a day today, and I'll tell you what's coming up next. Karen, from what you have told us, you have accomplished a lot of that in this life. I have learned so much from visiting these past lives, so it can be a very fun, exciting thing. But be prepared to see some darkness too. There's going to be some when you see like, wow, that's really awesome. But there's going to be some that are like, whoa, that's heavy. So I just want to be real about it, you know? Carla, you're alone a lot and it gets lonely sometimes. Yeah. So you might have a lot of that experience too. You might have a lot of past lives with that as well. Nancy, you've had many. We live it until we learn it. That's a great point, Paula. We live it until we learn it. So pay attention what the universe is teaching. That is so true, because if you don't learn the lesson that you set out to learn, and you go through your whole physical life and you don't learn that lesson, you're going to come back and try again until you get it. Once you get it, you've got it, you've mastered it, you go on to the next lesson. So pay attention to the signs and indications of what you need to do to continue your own self-exploration, your own self-healing, your own self-learning, wherever you're guided for that. Trust your intuition, trust your instincts, trust yourself. Ask your higher powers for help and assistance. Ask your angels for assistance. With all of this, with anything. But yeah, pay attention, because yes, I believe that to be true also, Paula, that you will come back and do it again if you didn't get it last time. And that's what some of that carryover karma is, you know. It's just, I didn't get it. I didn't do it right. Or, you know, also we come here in a physical form. We come here and we touch a lot on this. Spirit touched a lot on this in this book. I highly recommend you try it. Is we come here forgetting all that we had on our agenda. And we don't know what our lessons are here this time around until we start uncovering them and start peeling off the layers and seeing the signs and indications of what those lessons might be. But we come here with a clouded memory. And we also come here with free will. We are given free will. We are given the choice to decide. When we see something, we're given the choice to act upon it or not act upon it. Maybe fear is in the way and we don't act upon it, but maybe it was something we needed to do in order to help us learn what we needed to learn. A lot of times fear is in the way. A lot of times we have to deal with fear. It's a huge lesson. And there's many lessons that we need to learn. There are countless lessons that we need to learn to overcome. And a lot of times we need a repeat and a redo because we didn't get it right from before. So, yeah. Oh, shh, hey, no. Penny had to say her two cents about it all. Angela, you may have been one of those people who walked on by or laughed at you. Maybe. Could be. And that's why I say, too, pay attention to the roles that you play in the past lives, too. You know, one time I might have been one of those people that laughed at the poor people. Maybe one of those times I was poor a lot of times in the past. And I had a lot of sense of lack in this life, and I needed to come to terms with a lot of that. And now a lot of that has gone away. I don't have that any longer. So I needed to learn a lot of these things. There's so many layers in all of this too. There's more than just like one little thing that you can learn from these past lives, just from these couple examples I shared with you. There's multiple things that I needed to learn, to revisit, to heal again. So, yeah. Yes, Janice, I'm so glad you were able to join us today, too. And it can be a very powerful healing tool in so many ways. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, Rebecca, we can be different races, different ethnic groups, different spiritual beliefs, different religious beliefs, different... We plan all that stuff before we come back. What would best suit our purpose for the highest learning? Yeah. Yep. Let's see here, Karen. Your kids always say, why do I have the same thing happen to me all the time? I say, because you didn't learn it the first time. Right. You didn't process it. You didn't deal with it. Yeah. There's a lot of people stuck in a cycle. And sometimes they don't even realize they're in a cycle. There's been many times I didn't realize I was in a cycle. It was stuck with things. But it is we're in an ongoing learning process. As long as we're here, we're learning. And if you realize it or not, we're learning. So if you do realize it, all the better. Rebecca, you did a meditation and asked what your purpose was, and you were told love. That's so beautiful. That is just beautiful. I got chills reading that. Paula, so many waste whole lifetimes with drugs and alcohol. Excuse me, sorry. Be brave. Life is hard. Life is hard. Life is difficult. Life is difficult. It is. Excuse me, my voice. Life is difficult. And I've seen people where I think, gosh, I wish you would just learn what you need to learn, because I can see things with some. But not everybody, you know. And it's their own timing. They have to do it. They have to learn it to master it. Everybody has to learn to master what they have to master. And so, yeah, it's crazy. It's good. It's thank you for this awesome discussion. Thank you for I have conquered many fears of even just coming out and talking about these things, because a couple of years ago I was afraid to even discuss this kind of thing. When I was learning about all of this, I was afraid to discuss these things with others. So I am grateful I've passed that hurdle. Even just the other day with all of these past life discussions. Just want to sip real quick here. I actually sat down. Excuse me, sorry. I actually sat down and jotted out a whole outline for another book on just past life. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your participation and your comments and your discussion, your participation in these discussions. I think we all learn from each other, and you all bring up great points and great things that we can learn from each other. We're all still learning, we're all still evolving, and we're all still growing. So if you have not checked out this yet, please do so. I cannot wait to hear your comments. Tomorrow we're going to do a book chat, Q&A, and also some insights you might have gotten, some see where you're at, just questions that I've come up with regarding this book. And see where you are with it, and yeah, I've got a lot of things I want to ask you about that. So I cannot wait to talk to you about that. Probably more or less about the same time tomorrow. Thursday, of course, Thursday 11 a.m. is Crystal Sale Day, and next week we will get back to our other spiritual chats and our deep talks and our crystal talks and all that good stuff. If you're not in my group already, Crystalline Sage, please feel free to join that. It is a safe place to discuss these topics if you don't feel like talking to your friends or your family who do not understand this stuff, you know, don't get where you're at, where you're coming from. Or if you have that fear, that's a safe place to do that. So Crystalline Sage, also, please like, share, and follow. See first to get my videos of when I'm on. And we will see you hopefully tomorrow and do a book chat. So thank you all so much. Love and light, love and light. Yes, you can always catch the replay. Absolutely. So, Karen, my throat chakra is clearing as I communicate. Yes, my throat chakra has been the worst chakra of this lifetime, because when I was 5 years old, I shut it down, and I kept it closed until I started my spiritual journey and my own healing. I'd say it's about 90% healed, but I mean, that was like 40 years of having it closed. And I suffered many things from that area also because I did that to myself. So yeah, I still have a little bit. I've got to continue to release and continue to express and continue to heal that area. But it is so much better than it used to be. I would have never, ever, ever, ever guessed I would be here talking to people about past life. A few years, 5 years ago, I would have said, what? Are you crazy? What? Huh? What? No. But I'm glad that we have come together. I'm so grateful for this community. And if whatever it is that I say can help someone, I am so grateful because you all have helped me in countless ways. So the energy is continuous. Thank you all so much. I will see you all soon. And crystal blessings. We'll talk to you tomorrow about book chat. Okay? Thank you. Bye.